All right, that's
direct
a good
from the
sign.
web.
I hear it.
It's Billy Masters live. And now, please welcome your host, Billy Masters.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Billy Masters Live. I am Billy Masters, and I'm far cheerier than I really should be. Monica, please. Okay, thank God. This is not a day that I want any problems. Today is Tuesday, October 20th, 2020. Oh, so it's 10/20/2020. Wow. I didn't know it was a special day, 2020. Oh my God, if Barbara Walters knew where she was, she'd be all over this. Anyway, welcome to the show. All right. For those of you who were watching last week, let me first apologize. Look, Billy Masters has tried to be that cheery, bright beacon of hope for all of you. I have tried to be positive. I had tried to make myself laugh, make all of you laugh. And last week, it just all came crashing down around me. And it was a very dark weekend. And I don't mean dark in the sexual way. I just mean dark that, I was just telling Sue backstage that I was sitting here saying, why bother? And not bother the show or column, just bother in general. Like, what are we all hanging around for? And then it hit me, like at the end of a movie like Rocky or something, where they say to the fighter or somebody doing an experiment that just, collapse and play dumb and let it be over. And there are some people that just can't do that they've got to get up, even if they're going to be knocked out and possibly miss yet another tooth. Oh, yes, there is a tooth missing. There will be another tooth missing, but we'll get to that. Anyway, I realized I am not somebody who can just give up. I don't know why. I think it's ultimately that, they talk about the survival instinct. You know what it is with me? I can't let even life get the better of me. And if you've dated me, you also know I can't let anyone get the better of me. I can't let anyone get the last word. If I know something that I shouldn't know and life would be happier if I just played dumb, I'm not that person either. I'm the one that says, oh, I had an ex that said that I just started dating. So he wasn't an ex at the time. And he had left me alone in his apartment, which is never a good thing. And like a week or two later, he said, oh, I used to have a pair of cowboy boots. I have no idea where they are. And I said, second shelf in the closet, far right corner. That relationship didn't work out. So that's the thing, is you can know where the cowboy boots are, but you don't have to tell them. By the way, in case that person is looking for the cowboy boots, I believe they're still there if my tracking device is still working. Anyway, so what happened with Ed Asner, usually I will start by giving you an anecdote from the past that's cheery. Well, this isn't cheery, but I'm hoping that if I tell it, maybe it will become funny. Ed Asner, legendary Ed Asner, 91-year-old Ed Asner, wanted to do the show, but he wanted to do it via Zoom, which we don't do because, as you can see, you couldn't look this good on Zoom. So I had given him my program, and I said, all you have to do is click on the link. It's even easier than Zoom. Well, that didn't work. What I believe, looking at the video now, is that his internet signal was not particularly good. So he kept cutting out. And so we started late. Then it was okay for a second. And then all of a sudden his screen froze and the audio was sputtered. Now I'm going to show a clip. And as you will see, I just kind of nod and smile as if I can hear him, because I'm thinking maybe the problem is on my end. So if you're watching at home, I want to make it look like, oh, everything's fine. I'm not that good an actor. Okay, here's the clip. First off, I want to thank you for doing Billy Masters Live, and I want to thank everyone for watching, for hanging with us. We had some technical issues.
All right, well, big time technical. I haven't really done comedy on TV. So they called me in to read, and with a lot of coaching, I rounded out a performance, which was Mary, which eventually got a job.
Yeah, I'm nodding.
Yeah. And years later, a couple years later.
That's how it went. It didn't get any better. Then Ed was mad. I was mad. I was frustrated. I wasn't mad. And he wants to come back, but he wants to come back on Zoom, and it's not going to look as good. So I said, fine. But I said, we will pre-tape it because I just can't go through it again on another live show. So we will pre-tape Ed. Ed will be back, and unless, of course, he doesn't make it, in which case that was the last footage of Ed Asner anyone will ever see. But Ed seems to me to be feisty. He's got spunk. Yeah, I know. I had to go for the hacky joke. Anyway, okay, but I am back, and the only way I could get back is with people who I know and like, who I know I'd have a good time with. So our first guest is God, she is everything I know about media. I know through Sue O'Connell. So basically, if anyone is going to get the blame, it is my first guest, Sue O'Connell.
Boy, I'm sorry, I guess. I thought we'd be better off by now, but I'm sorry.
You know, when we first met at campus and you were drunk and I was underage, who would have thought we'd be here talking about Ed Asner?
Yeah, I think we did, actually, Billy. I think we knew exactly that we'd be talking about Ed Asner. And if we went into the future, you know, into our little machine to go into the future, I'd be sitting in my dining room and you'd be sitting in your basement.
I'm in my childhood bedroom. And yeah, I know. And we would have said, someday you'll be talking to Ed Asner. Right. And I will wish I were still drinking.
Right. Oh, boy. I feel your pain.
You've been there.
Oh, yeah. And it's what's interesting for folks watching at home is that when it goes south, because you're doing a lot, even if you have a team or you don't have a team, you're doing a lot and you don't know if it's going as badly as you think it is. And you don't know if you should bail out yet or if you should wait to see if it resolves. So you just kind of sit there and wait for someone to pull the plug or to, you know, for you to do it. So,
well, that was the big thing. I kept waiting. Maybe it will come back. And if I just hang in there and I'm sitting there, and I mean, obviously it's a much longer clip and I'm there. And even after I lost him, I kept going because I said, maybe he'll come back on.
Yeah.
And then I realized at that point, Ed was done.
Yeah. It's technology. It's a gift and it's a curse, but it happens. I think it's always so funny though. It's the thing that was sort of invented first, which is audio, is something we don't know how to do. So.
I know, and that's Sue and I also used to work together at WFNX on 1 in 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then she is more recently a contributing commentator, I guess.
Yes, I'm a commentator and an analyst at NECN and
New England Cable News.
Yep,
for
and
those
at
of you who don't know.
NBCLX. So
don't ask us what that means. We're not quite sure. But I have a clip of Sue and I in action on TV a little bit over a year ago, and I've shown this before, but I am the soothsayer, so I'm just going to show it again.
All right, so who are you picking for the presidential race? You looking at Pete Buttigieg as the future?
Well, first off, we're all talking about Joe Biden. He hasn't even declared yet.
Yeah.
So, but he's still the front runner, and I think that Biden, Camilla, I think that could be a really
Kamala Harris.
Kamala.
Yeah,
whatever. Potato. I think those two.
Potato. It will go.
It's one thing to mispronounce it because you don't know how, or if you're dyslexic like me and you read it, I can only pronounce things when I hear them, not when I read them. And it's a totally another thing to do it on purpose to be insulting. So I just want
you just don't care.
It's out there.
I realize that. And, but I am just going to say Joe wasn't even declared. And you're asking me about Pete Buttigieg. Remember the good old days when Pete Buttigieg was in the mix?
Yeah, Pete was I loved every time I said anything critical about Pete Buttigieg, his entire staff would call me at all 4 of my jobs to complain to me. And I was like, listen, I'm not living through this gay drama. Okay. That's it. But
The
look,
gays are
he's going to have a big role with, I think, the Joe Biden administration if Joe crosses the line. So we'll see what happens, or if we're still here.
I had predicted in that clip, I had said something about how I thought this was great for getting him on the national platform. And everybody I know, gay, straight, whatever, who watched, nobody had anything bad about him. Everyone was so impressed. I think he would be best served in state.
Yeah, oh no, he's got a number of talents. I mean, he was a little annoying because he sort of felt like he, as many people pointed out, the fifth runner-up at the Boston City Council got more votes than he did as
that is true.
Mayor. So it's good on you, but let's look at the big stage. But he's incredibly talented, very smart, and I think he's got a huge future ahead of him. And obviously, being the role model, and that's an incalculable positive for all of America, I think. So good on Pete Buttigieg.
Yep.
I can say his name now, so that's good. I couldn't say his name either. So
did you ever get him on NECN?
I don't think I spoke with him. I spoke. We had the show Primary Source after the take went off, and I spoke with Marianne Williams,
who'll talk to anyone.
Who told me to get off the internet because it was stressing me out. Cory Booker, who was great. A bunch of other candidates who I can't remember at this point on the Democratic ticket, but it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a million years ago. I mean, we were up.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so surprised at how slowly and yet quickly time has gone in this past year, because some things feel like yesterday and some things feel like decades ago.
Yeah. No, it's definitely when you talk to people who are really old and they tell you how time just is kind of mushed together, like they remember when they were 10, just like they remember yesterday, but it's all in a soup of time, and that's where we are in this miserable, about to get worse period. But don't worry, Billy, you still have more teeth.
Some. So I will say, when I wrote this week's column, which people can read on BillyMasters.com or in Bay Windows, that originally the closing joke was going to be, because I always end with, I'll get back to you before. And originally the joke was going to be, I find out whether Ed or I have more teeth left. And I said, if Ed reads that, he's like, what the hell is this teeth joke? So, but it's a good chance Ed has more teeth than me at this point.
You still don't have Kathleen Turner yet, though, huh?
It is not something she would enjoy.
She's hanging out with Ryan Landry in Provincetown. I mean,
looking at the paintings. Speaking of Ryan Landry, so can I recommend 2 documentaries I just watched this past week? Hello. That's okay. It's fine. This when we're not, nobody's watching. It's fine. I watched a documentary over the weekend about.
We're working on it.
Ed Asner all over again. I watched a documentary about Ethel and Julius Rosenberg.
Yeah.
Because, I'm always up for a good time. And which was done by their granddaughter, who's a documentary filmmaker. And then she did a documentary about Roy Cohn. I've been meaning to talk to you about this. I knew a lot of the stuff. I did not know that he was as open, that he had a place in Provincetown every summer.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Well, remember too, I'm happy to say we're both too young to sort of remember this, but there was a period of time when men, I would imagine more than women, but were kind of openly gay, but not really. Like it was a known thing, but as long as you weren't trying to get married. I mean, if you watch the McCarthy hearings, and some of the jabs, I forget the name of the prosecutor. Gloria probably remembers the prosecutor or the person who was being questioned by McCarthy, and then makes a jab about fairy dust.
Fairies, I remember that.
And at Roy Cohn. So it's not like people didn't know that Roy Cohn was gay and living, a somewhat open lifestyle, as they would say back in the day. But it's I have a hard time wrapping my brain around how that period of time existed. But I did watch Boys in the Band on is it Netflix?
Yeah.
And I remember when I watched the original, the movie version of the original, how depressing it was, and it was depressing again. So don't watch it if you're depressed.
But I saw it. What I was struck by in Boys in the Band, and I saw the Broadway production that this is based on, just like the original film was based on the original off-Broadway production. All I kept thinking of, and maybe it's perspective because the original I saw in my 20s, all I keep thinking is, everyone looks so young. And in the original, they may have been the same age, but 30 looked older. And now 30 looks like a kid.
Yeah, I thought they were old and miserable the first time I watched it. And now I'm like, look at their young, fresh faces. And miserable.
But that's the other thing is I will look at like my grandparents' wedding picture where they're in their teens and they already looked like they were 90 because, age is fluid. But the reason I brought up the Roy Cohn documentary is Ryan Landry is in there. And apparently, well, first off, I guess I didn't know that he had been a hustler, but I suppose I should have. But he had been picked up by Roy Cohn's driver and driven into the woods to a house. But you also, it's so easy to say you tricked with Roy Cohn when everyone's dead. So let me just go on the record. I could have tricked with Roy Cohn.
I might have. You could have. You may have, and you don't remember. You may
I have no idea.
Who knows?
So let's talk about election here in Boston. How safe are elections? Are people voting in advance? Are there mail-in ballots? What's going on in Boston?
Yeah, I think the mail-in ballots started arriving last week. People are mailing them in. I am so disappointed that I didn't pay attention to early voting where we could have gone to Fenway Park.
In person, yeah.
Park and gotten a sticker. Because getting stickers for voting is like when you get a vaccination when you're a kid. So you could get an I voted at Fenway Park sticker. So I already voted by mail. Ruby voted by mail. We didn't go to Fenway. We probably wouldn't have gone to the crowd even though it was outside. But there's a lot of excitement about voting. There's the primary had some problems for us, especially around the Mass Congressional 4th District, where there were a lot of that had like 500 Democrats running, and there were a lot of uncounted ballots. There's just the clerks who are doing enormous heroic work were not as prepared as they needed to be in some places. So hopefully that got some of the bugs out of the system. But in Massachusetts, one of the oldest commonwealths in the nation, I think we've got this voting thing down. So there's not a lot of concern about it.
Can I just say, and I know this is going to sound, again, I am just old apparently, but I went to mail my mail-in ballot, and I am not a fan of these mailboxes with this narrow little slot. When did that happen? That you can't put anything in a mailbox without a flashlight and a magnifying glass? Yeah,
it's sort of post 9/11 where they started doing things so that you can't. I mean, somebody set fire to a mail-in. I don't know what state it was, but a drop-off place. It also just goes to show. We remember going to the mailbox used to be a thing you did on a regular basis. And the fact that you just did it, is
the first time. I couldn't find. I'm in Medford. Now they'll come to the house. But we used to have a mailbox on the corner, but now it's just a mailbox that they drop the mail off to be delivered on the street. I could not find a mailbox because who goes to a mailbox? It's so retro. I went to the post office, obviously, and just so Gloria knows, in California they mail you an I voted sticker.
God. I'm gonna try and get a referendum question going in Massachusetts that you get a sticker if you voted, because I think
I got one in the mail.
Up the turnout even more if you could get a sticker.
But vote early, vote often. That's what I say.
It's the Irish way.
So what do you think of this question about the ranked voting? I found that very interesting. What do you think?
So, first of all, I hate referendum questions with a passion. Okay, and I'll tell you why.
It's always tricky how they're written.
Well, I just hate them because I'm hiring people called state representatives and senators to do this work, to study these things, to get them on the ballot so that I don't have to, right? Mm-hmm. So I have a hard enough time preparing what I'm going to do without having to read these dense, very densely thick written. I don't know if it's a good idea or not. I don't know if ranked choice voting, as this question is voted, is written, is a good idea, or the right to repair your car. Is that a good idea? I don't know. So I hate them. I also hate the fact that our state lawmakers have yet to pass a budget and actually aren't doing what they're supposed to do. And it's an embarrassment that, you know, they're not actually passing the laws that we want them to do. So clearly we need referendum questions, because if we didn't have referendum questions, we wouldn't have legalized marijuana, because even though the lawmakers knew legalization of marijuana was coming for decades, they did nothing. So I just hate the whole process of the referendums, because it reeks of failure to me.
Right. No, I agree with you.
But the ranked choice voting is an interesting, here in Massachusetts, the way it's written, I think ranked choice voting in general is a good idea. You know, when I was a music director at KISS 108 here in Boston back in the early 80s, we would add points to all of the songs on the charts all year long. And then at the end of the year, I would tally them up.
Add up the points, right.
And we'd add up the points, and we would make our decisions about the top songs of the year like that. Mm-hmm. Right. We live like that all the time. We make decisions and compromises. I think this is a good idea. I think ranked choice voting is the way to go. It's happening in Maine. It seems to be working okay. Cambridge, that's how Cambridge has chosen its mayor here in Massachusetts for decades.
And let me explain to people who don't know. So ranked choice voting particularly works well if you're not passionate about somebody, and you feel like the lesser of two evils. And so if the population splits the vote for their first choice, but they all agree on the second choice, it is conceivable that the second choice would get more points and ultimately win.
And it's a nonpartisan issue. That's the thing that's exciting about it. Like, if you just look at Bill Clinton and George H. Bush's race, and Ross Perot was in that race, you know, Bill Clinton won without a majority of the nation voting for him, because Ross Perot split off a lot of that vote. And also, you know, you could look at any place where there's a spoiler. You shouldn't have to worry about whether or not your vote for Jill Stein is going to make Donald Trump go to the White House. If we had ranked voting, you could vote for Hillary Clinton and you could vote for Jill Stein. And it might also build up a better party system. So we won't only have two parties, because if Jill Stein got, say, 30% of the vote from a ranked choice voting methodology, maybe the Green Party would be something, and maybe that might be a good idea. So,
I think that's true. It does give the underdogs at least some. You get a semblance of what people care about, and they may not be a spoiler, as you said, but at least it puts them in the mix.
Right. You get to vote for ideas, which is also part of it. That, you know, one of the things I learned talking to voters in New Hampshire during the primary is sometimes they're just voting for people based on who they think is going to win. Right. So Elizabeth Warren would be a perfect example of that. She didn't do as well in New Hampshire as people expected. And it's because a lot of people told me that they didn't think she could win the final election.
And their vote would be wasted on
her.
Right.
So if they could vote for Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren, or Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, you know, then maybe there would have been more of a consensus for Elizabeth Warren if she kept getting more votes. So I think it's a good idea. Generally, folks should look at this question in Massachusetts and how it's written and what the mechanics of it are. But I'm for more voting, easier voting.
In general, right.
In general.
Yep. And so Rocky just posted to us, the ballot box fire happened near LA in Baldwin Park. Thank you, Rocky, for telling us. And so that brings us to our next guest who's going to join us. Anytime she's here, it excites me because she is so smart. She elevates even us, if that's possible. And I have such enormous respect for Gloria Allred. If you don't know, there is a documentary called Seeing Allred, which I believe is still on Netflix. It is terrific, and she is legendary and really shows you how one person can make a difference. So please welcome to the show. Now she's looking down and doing better things probably, but here she comes, Miss Gloria Allred. Hey, Glo.
Hey, Gloria.
Hi, Billy. Hi, Sue. How are you today?
I want to just show Gloria. So here is Sue didn't know, but I voted That is what they sent us in Los Angeles.
Yes,
If you
I
did
have
a
one too
mailing
because I'm a California resident, and
Right.
actually I've made out my whole ballot. I'm going to pop it in the mail today and in a Dropbox because I'm not trusting the U.S. mail. And I know exactly where the Dropbox is in my neighborhood. I'm going to personally take it over and put it in. I always love voting in person, but it's not going to work this time.
Yep.
So I'm going to use that Dropbox. And I've also, as I mentioned to you before the show, Billy, I actually have done a television commercial for one of the propositions on the ballot in California. It's called Prop 22. It's put there by Uber and Lyft, who spent over $180 million on ads to try to persuade people to say yes on 22. And so I've been asked by some of the opponents to do the no on 22 television ad, which is now running and is also on the internet. That's an effort by Uber and Lyft to classify their drivers as independent contractors rather than employees. The legislature classified them as employees. And Uber and Lyft doesn't like that because then if they're employees, they are entitled to workers' compensation for injuries on the job, unemployment insurance, and other benefits. And also they're entitled, if they are victims of sexual harassment, to have that investigated. That's required by law. And there should be training about what to do in sexual harassment situations. None of that would apply as legal requirements if they are independent contractors. So the bottom line is they want to have it their way. And their way is we'll throw a few crumbs, some money at the workers if they're independent contractors. But, you know, even if they volunteer to give them some health benefits, if they're independent contractors, they can decide we don't want to do that anymore. It won't be legally required. And essentially, working people are going to be hurt. So
They also have no
I've
leverage.
represented working people for 44 years, as it says in the Sacramento Bee article mentioning my ad, that I've been involved in these David versus Goliath, DeVita versus Goliath battles for all that time against big corporations, big business, small business, and others. And we'll see what happens in the election. And hopefully everybody's going to vote no in California on Prop 22.
It's another reason I hate referendum questions, Billy, is because people can come in with lots of money, right, and basically push forward some law that the public doesn't necessarily understand because it's so complicated. And then it forces other people who may not have been thinking about this at all to have to get together and put an opposition together and then spend more money to fight something that is, you know, kind of common sense in some ways. But again, if the lawmakers actually were doing their jobs, we wouldn't need a referendum question.
I absolutely agree with you. And the lawmakers did do their job in this case, classifying them as employees. And this is why Uber and Lyft decided, okay, well, we're going to have a proposition. We'll spend all this money, which they should really be spending on their drivers, not trying to get out of paying benefits and to their drivers as required by law. And so we'll have to see what happens. But there are a lot of other important issues as well on the ballot. Obviously, the presidency is the single most important issue as far as I'm concerned.
Is that up this year? Is the
That's
presidency
up
up this
year.
year?
Yes.
Pardon me?
Is the presidency up this year? Is this a presidency year?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I
Kind
mean,
of.
what took us so long, right? I would have liked another election before after the 2016 one, maybe like the following week. But, you know, who knows? So right now, people are coming out in droves all over the country. They're standing in lines. Fortunately, in California, we do, as Billy mentioned earlier, have vote by mail as an option. We don't have to request the ballot. We all just get it, along with the I voted little sticker. And very clear instructions about how to vote. And especially with COVID-19, we need to, have people understand how they can exercise this option. I can assure you in California, which is a blue state, as we know, very blue, getting bluer. It's, we're going to vote and vote big time because we understand here in California what's at stake. We're very concerned about the Supreme Court rush through confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett that is going to be voted on this week. That was a ridiculous confirmation hearing where we learned nothing, but we do know anyway about Amy Coney Barrett. We know about her having signed petitions against Roe v. Wade. And we know what an extreme conservative she is, and she would not have been selected by the Federalist Society and then her name forwarded to the president were she not someone who passed all the litmus tests for a very, very conservative right-wing potential justice for the Supreme Court. The idea that she's going to be sitting in the seat previously occupied by Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, our hero, our shero, who stood up so bravely for women's rights, even to her last breath, I'm sure. And I had the pleasure of meeting her and having dinner with her at the Supreme Court. This is, as her dinner partner, this is so disturbing that we're going to have this justice, and it will happen. And then the Affordable Care Act, of course, is going to be voted on by potentially the Supreme Court with Amy Coney Barrett on it the first week after the election. Right. And we know that the Trump administration is trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare. And that Trump wants her confirmed because with the hope that she will somehow upset the election results, which I hope will not happen. But again, hope is not a strategy. We all have to get out there and vote because democracy's on the ballot, healthcare is on the ballot, Roe v. Wade is on the ballot, gay and lesbian rights are on the ballot, and so much more.
Gloria, last time you were here, you brought up something that I hadn't thought of, which is that if you're hopeless and feel like, for instance, the Supreme Court thing is a fait accompli, we can't do anything about it. But you pointed out that it's the local judges that were appointed by Trump that really have a lot of power. And somebody texted me last night and said, can you ask Gloria, what can we do to roll back Trump's appointed judges? Is there anything that could be done in the future?
Well, as to, I think it's more than 100 lower court judges now.
Yeah.
That Trump, with the assistance of Senator McConnell, rammed through. Because why? Because he could get them appointed to vacancies on the United States District Court, federal court, at the trial court level, and some at the appellate level. And some were considered unqualified by the American Bar Association. Still, they were confirmed. They're there for life. We can't get rid of them short of impeachment, which rarely happens. But what we can do is let's move forward. Let's get, as far as I'm concerned, a Democratic president elected. Let's flip the Senate blue so that it becomes a Democratic majority in the Senate so that the future vacancies can be filled, will be filled by Democratic nominees, those who have been suggested by hopefully President Biden.
Billy, this has been a multi-decade effort by conservatives to get to this point, and both with the Supreme Court justices and with these federal justices. And Gloria mentioned the Federalist Society, which was formed just to get to this point. They have been working decades to do this, and they're now successful. And these are lifelong appointments, both on the Supreme Court. I mean, Coney Barrett may be there for 40 years.
Yes, right? And that's one of the reasons probably he appointed someone who's young. She's in her 40s. Because he wants her to be there for decades, long after he's gone. She'll
elections
still
have
be there.
and this
Yeah.
is a consequence of people who were elected, not just President Trump, but other people. And so when people say they don't want to be involved in the system, or they think that all politicians are awful, meanwhile the conservatives had their little nose to the grindstone and were setting up these judges so that they could get confirmed for just this moment. This is why people who may be repulsed by President Trump personally voted for him, and he is enacting and has delivered to them.
Well,
Gloria. Gloria.
Go ahead, Billy.
What I was going to ask is that I've heard a lot of people say that if Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed, which we assume she will be, that it's actually backfiring on the Republicans because so many people feel that this is an abuse of their power in the Senate. What do you say to that?
Well, they have the right to do it. Should they do it? No, I mean, obviously it's complete hypocrisy. Because, we all know that Senator McConnell said many years ago, and then, of course, Senator Graham was part of the echo chamber, saying that no president should be appointing anyone to the Supreme Court in an election year. And that was like 10 months for President Obama before the next presidential election. Here, she hasn't even been confirmed yet, and millions have already voted. We are in the midst of an election because of early voting. And so they're ramming this through. Why? Because they can. That's why. And because they know that this election may result in a Democratic president, they may not have another chance for 4 years.
Do you have any hope or any optimism? I mean, we're all old enough to know that some Supreme Court justices, even from the beginning of the Supreme Court, that were appointed didn't always end up doing the work or deciding in the way that the person or the party or the ideology that appointed them hoped that they would. And we've seen over the years people who we thought were conservative justices ruling.
Well, look at Justice Roberts.
Yeah, ruling. I mean, do you have any hope at all that there'll be some sort of balance, even though it's the court's now very heavily conservative?
As I said, I like the expression that hope is not a strategy. And I'm not into, I of course, like all people, have hope. Hope it's the last thing to die. But what I can say is we shouldn't count on it.
Right.
And we shouldn't take actions based on that they might change their mind. I mean, this is a person who is a lifelong conservative. Yeah. And when I say conservative, there are others who've described her as an extremist. Okay. I'll just say she would describe herself as a conservative. And she's done the kabuki dance of not answering questions, very much so that we couldn't get to know her on the Judiciary Committee. However, I think her record speaks for itself. And the fact that she was vetted by the Federalist Society speaks for itself. And so all I can say is the whole issue of whether the court should be expanded, also known as court packing, is something that will be dealt with after the election, although Democratic nominee Joe Biden has indicated that he actually will say where he stands on that prior to the election, which kind of surprised me that he would.
Yeah, I don't know if I would.
But anyway, we'll see what he has to say.
Sometimes he says things that he means by accident out loud. So
yeah, well, and sometimes he says things he doesn't mean out loud. Having said that, I do like Joe Biden. Is he a perfect person? No, neither am I. Neither are any of us. He is in clear contrast to Trump, who is to say he's flawed is to be kind to President Trump. He's dangerous. He is corrupt. He is a liar and such a danger to our democracy in ways that we have never seen in our history. So yes, we have to dump Trump, and Joe Biden, I think, will be a president of whom we can be proud.
Gloria, I had a question. I had a conversation with somebody, and is it true that even if Trump became president again and say Pence became president, that a president can no longer be pardoned presidentially for crimes? Because there's the argument that Trump wants to stay in office because he doesn't want to go to prison.
Well, there's also an interesting suggestion out there in the land of the internet that Trump, the question of whether Trump could actually pardon himself.
Oh, that's interesting.
While he's still in office.
Can he?
Pardon me, I pardon me, I pardon me. Pardon you. But so I know
certainly is
that may
pardoned a
be
lot of
something
people
on
around
which
him.
scholars need to opine. But I don't know. Again, that might go to the courts.
I'll tell you one thing Trump has shown us is that how well behaved it seems everybody else has been doing by kind of riding, even Nixon riding within the lanes a little bit, where we haven't had to test these things. Like, we're not sure, Billy, if a president can pardon himself, because no one really ever thought that someone would have the audacity to. So it's just this amazing, mind-blowing experience with this presidency.
Well, exactly, it is. And so, we're going into uncharted territories. But of course, if he's pardoning himself, then, you only pardon yourself if you think or others, if they've either been convicted of crimes or you think they might be convicted of crimes,
right,
or have potential criminal exposure. So we'll have to see where that goes. And it's interesting because while he could pardon himself for federal crimes, potentially, he can't pardon himself for state crimes.
Right. In
and
New York,
Cy Vance, who is the district attorney in Manhattan, whom I do know because he was the district attorney who had the guts, the courage to bring the criminal case against Harvey Weinstein. I was involved in that case. As you know, I represented 3 witnesses, including the victim, Mimi Haley, who testified, and on the basis of her testimony, Mr. Weinstein was convicted and sentenced to 20 years just on her count, criminal sexual assault. But so Cy Vance is doing that investigation of Trump, and has been successful in obtaining his tax returns as well.
Right.
So President Trump cannot pardon himself from what goes on in New York. That is a state matter as opposed to a federal matter. So, he's got a lot of problems on his plate if he's no longer president. It may be one of the reasons that he's getting so desperate and wants to stay and be the president. That and perhaps then be sheltered by the Justice Department regulation that he can't be prosecuted while he's in office, which, by the way, is just a policy of the Justice Department. It's not a law.
Oh, that's interesting. You brought up Harvey Weinstein, and again, I look at this as a guy, so forgive me for being male. But there was a story that just came out this morning, or last night.
It wasn't your choice.
that is true. Nothing was my choice. I take no responsibility for anything.
Although okay. Anyway, I'll go there.
But yesterday, a story came out that CNN reporter Jeffrey Toobin was on a Zoom call, business call. He thought he was off the call and was, to politely say, masturbating, and some people saw it. Now, it's hard to talk about it seriously, even though I know with Gloria I should, because to me it sounds so funny, but I know to a woman it isn't. But they discussed it on The View this morning, and I just want to show this clip, and then we can see what you think of it. So here you go.
Because this is extremely...
Watch Sarah Haynes on the bottom right-hand screen.
Because this is extremely... odd and
unusual.
Unusual behavior. Yeah.
What do you make of this turn of events, Sarah? Because it seems such a strange thing to do when people, you've been working and talking to people. What's your take on this?
I'm sorry. I usually give women a lot of credit for multitasking, but this is a gear switch I could leave to only a man. This was during an election simulation. which is the most, I'm sorry, the most unsexy thing I've ever heard of. And I'm not going to be able to unsee this. I very much miss the days when Jennifer went to the bathroom and forgot to turn off her camera.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I know there's a lot of seriousness to this topic. It's just really hard because I can't fathom a situation where this was the option A and B.
So, Gloria, I mean, it sounds ludicrous, but supposedly I could be sitting here masturbating, talking to you.
Now, hands up.
Okay.
Let's see. Keep them up there. Okay.
So, I mean, it's so absurd that we are even talking about this. But is it actionable offense?
Is it actionable, did you say?
Yeah, that he was pleasuring himself during a Zoom call. So that means he's working.
Okay, well, all I can say is this. I really think that Jeffrey Toobin is a very brilliant, well-prepared, important analyst of the legal system and also the political system. And I have great admiration for his insights, his wisdom, and his work. And I just feel very sad that he is being humiliated in this manner and that he has been suspended, which I do understand why CNN has suspended him. And I guess the New York Magazine, New Yorker, whichever one that is,
New Yorker,
as while they do an investigation, it's especially at this time when we need his insight so much in reference to the Supreme Court confirmation and the politics and the law. Anyway, it's just very, very sad. And we do live in this age of Zoom. And, we just all have to be very, very careful. And it doesn't appear that he intended this. It was an accident and doesn't make it any better for him. But it's completely understandable. And, I remember a while ago, there was a bit on SNL where they were doing everything by Zoom and they were, I guess, I think they were making fun of like an older woman, which of course people make a lot of jokes about older women, which is unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
But in any event, that the woman was sitting in the bathroom after she thought her Zoom call had concluded, and there were shots of her sitting on the toilet. Have we lost you? There we go.
Nope, I'm still here. No, I just wanted to give you full screen for a moment.
Well, how nice of you. So they got her sitting on the toilet because she didn't realize that her camera was still on. And then they're yelling at her, no, your camera's still on. So, all kinds of problems when you're on Zoom, and just have to be very, very careful.
So Billy, it can be all these things. It can be sad and it can be funny. I mean, it's not just it's just not one thing, right? And I echo Gloria's comments about his talents and how much we are going to miss him if he's not able to be on the air.
And I hope he comes back soon. I love Jeffrey Toobin, and it's just so sad.
That's sort of my question. Is that we agree with him politically, so are we giving him a pass? Had this been a Republican or a right-leaning journalist, would we be calling for him to be fired too? What do you think?
Well, I would disagree with Gloria a little bit, where I think that if if you go to the bathroom while Zoom is on, that's one thing. If you're in a work environment and you're pleasuring yourself, that's another thing. And we've all been kind of joking about not wearing pants, and here we are on Zoom and all that, and I get it, but people are allowed to have some protected workspace where they're at work, where they're not going to see someone's junk while they're doing whatever the very New Yorker thing was that they were doing, which was reenacting some kind of like model UN presidential thing. I mean, it's so New Yorker what they were doing.
Well, obviously he didn't intend it.
Right.
However, whether it was at work or in a family setting or somewhere else, he didn't intend it. And, look, I'm not going to justify what he did because I don't think he intended to do it. However, he did, and now he has to face the consequences. And a lot of us multitask when we're at work.
Hands are up. Still hands are
That
up.
kind of multitasking I haven't done. I don't know if men that I know have done it. They can take the fifth about whether they have done it or not. I'm not going to ask them.
I mean, I get bored on Zoom calls too, but my hands are right here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
All right.
And-
Well,
and,
my hands are not always there, but they're sometimes emailing other people. Anyway.
Gloria, let me just say the idea that we talked about this is going to be burned in my head. Gloria, thank you for being on the show. I love you so much. I love that you're always here whenever I need you and when we need good.
Well, thank
advice.
you. I'm glad that it's burned in your head and not somewhere else is all I can say.
Glo, thank you for coming on. And
Thank you.
hopefully,
Vote,
fingers crossed.
everyone, vote. Come on. And
That's
get
right.
everybody
You'll
you
get
know
my
to get
sticker.
out there and vote.
Oh, my sticker. Okay. Thank you, Gloria. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. Bye, Sue.
Bye,
Bye,
honey.
Billy. Bye, everyone.
All right. Can I just point out we just talked about masturbation with Gloria Allred.
yes, and to your question, yes, I think he is getting a bit of a break because the other thing is, Billy, the creep factor, right?
Yeah. Well, it is creepy.
Well, it is creepy, but if someone has a habit of creepy behavior and gets caught doing something creepy, then it's a bigger deal than if it's like an isolated, creepy, bad choice, right? And
Would it have been different if it were Wolf Blitzer?
I'm just trying to think this. I don't know. I mean, I think it also becomes a generational thing in some. Like I'm watching on Twitter, like a lot of people, myself included, my initial reaction was to make a joke about it, and then
As mine, and that's why I had such sympathy for Sarah Haynes, because it's ludicrous that we're even talking about it. But then I thought to myself, I put other people in the category. Say it were what was Walter Cronkite doing under the desk?
Right.
But on the other hand, if it were Chris Cuomo, well, maybe I'm interested. But then am I looking at it because I'm a guy? And
right. And shouldn't you have a right to go to a Zoom meeting especially if you're a woman or a young woman or someone who has been through trauma, to not have to accidentally.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing.
I mean, I'm making sure that what's behind me is PG, it's just because I don't know what you have behind you, but it just.
Well, I know what I have next to me is a limited edition The Take mug. Look, there I am. Wait, hold on.
I failed again.
That's all right. I know. I forgot. That's okay. And there's Sue O'Connell. Look at us. We were so glamorous a year ago.
So anyway, we'll see. If there's no other creepy behavior, which we don't think there is, then it'll just be a footnote.
Can we put a button in it and saying masturbation during business hours is wrong?
It's wrong unless that's your business.
There you go. All right.
Thumbs up. But I would say yes. Keep it in your pants. Put on pants. Don't touch. It's sort of like kindergarten, right? If you've ever watched like preschoolers or kindergarteners, just keep your hands out of your private parts when you're talking to other people.
That is good advice for all people.
Yeah.
Sue O'Connell, you break it down to me in the most common way possible. I love you, and thank you for making me laugh through a horrible week. This is actually going so much better than Ed. Why couldn't Ed Asner have been on here talking about masturbation?
You can have him. He'll be on. It'll be good. I can't wait for it.
Maybe that's why he was having technical difficulties.
He's got a lot of. They're very
being on the show. We'll probably talk again before the election. But fingers crossed. I guess. What can we do?
Well, just vote. Everybody just needs to vote. And if you're with anybody who says things like it doesn't matter, like just even if you just go and leave the ballot blank, just go vote. Vote, mail it.
All right, mail it or show up. Do you remember the old days when presidential candidates showed up for the minute the voting offices opened and the crew was there to film them?
Not going to happen. Well, maybe we'll have. Trump will go. He doesn't care.
No, he's never gone.
He'll go.
All right. Sue, thank you. We'll talk soon. Sue O'Connell, commentator at NECN, New England Cable Network, Bay Windows, and the South End News. No semen. Well, she wouldn't have semen. I don't know the last time she's had semen on her hands. Probably never. All right, Sue. Thank you. I love you.
Bye.
Honey. All right, and now someone who has had more than a few semen on his hands, Mr. Randy Roberts. Randy, can you imagine what is this show? What kind of show?
You didn't bring me on.
No, I saw your post. I'm like, look, the last thing I need for poor Gloria Allred is you and me together.
Oh no, I would have been a gentleman. I promise you.
I hate to even say this after a semen conversation. You're a little soft. Your mic.
Oh, 1 moment.
You're a little soft. Maybe it's just a little far away from you.
Is that better?
Not
Which
much.
is better?
No,
Which is better?
no, it's the same.
I'll tell you the problem. Hold on.
It's out of the camera. I know.
No, it's not. I have this mic and it's not working evidently.
Yeah, you're not using that one. I know. I have this mic, so I've got it next to me.
Hold on.
Okay. But you're fine. I mean, whatever.
How's this?
Very good. Yeah, they're great.
Okay.
Great.
I had the wrong
input.
And there. I've heard you've had the wrong input now and then. I know I had legitimate questions for Gloria and Sue. I mean, ready to be not just another funny face.
Pretty face.
I said funny, but that's all right.
Look at that pretty.
I know.
Look at the blonde.
Freshly done. Oops. What did I just do?
When did you do it?
Last Thursday.
Wow, it looks very pretty.
Thanks.
How you're in Key West, right?
Yes.
How are things in Key West?
Well, I don't really go down to Duval Street very much because I don't want to be among the maskless mask holes. There have been people in town. I worked not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before. We've limited the capacity to 50% of the rooms. So we had 50 people socially distanced.
La-ti-da.
In the Chris room at latida.com. We've hung a plexiglass wall on the stage, and I'm behind the wall.
Really?
Oh, yes. It's like I feel like I'm at a salad bar, and I'm behind a sneeze guard. Yes.
How is that going? I mean, how does it feel?
It was very strange because I can't see the audience.
What do you mean?
The reflection.
The glare.
The glare. So the spotlight is in my face. So I see a lovely reflection of me. So I did a lot of the show like this.
Well, don't you look pretty, though?
Well, it was all right. I hadn't done it in a long time. But I could also...
How long had it been?
7 months. Yeah. 7 months. March 14th was my last show on a stage. I've done...
We will tell people, go to randyroberts.net. You can see everything about Randy. Look at his schedule. Look at his videos. They're fabulous. Randy Roberts Live on YouTube. Oh, and Broadway World. We don't care about them. I have to show a clip. Randy and I, first off, we're very good friends. And when this started, we helped each other technically. And Randy started doing shows out of his house.
No. What are you going to show?
I have this just a little clip. How technical things can go wrong, but how you got to be fast. And B, just a little singing. And then we'll go back.
I don't know if I'm...
But oh, crap. What did I do? Oh, there's a piece on this mic stand. I have one of those mic stands that you just use your hand to go up and down. But if you grab it in the wrong place, it goes down too easily. Woe that everybody, never mind. I was going to be a little less than... I'm a lady, I am. You've got to ring them bells. You gotta ring them bells. You gotta make them sing and really ring them bells. It's such a happy thing to hear them ting-a-ling. You gotta ring them bells. That was choreography.
Ring them bells.
Do you think I had enough reverb?
My favorite thing is the reverb.
I did 2 hours of sound check.
Oh no,
and then that happened. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, but remember the show before that.
Well, the very first one is when I had to hold a USB speaker up because my the mixing board died. So technically, that wasn't so much technical. I was just having issues. The mic stand couldn't keep it up.
Well, we've had... what was the last time you had sex, Randy Roberts?
With somebody else?
Yes. Not making love alone. Bernadette Peters. No, with another person. When was the last time?
August in San Diego.
You traveled during the coronavirus?
I did.
Know that. Oh,
a friend of mine was moving his office from Palm Springs to San Diego. So I had my I make my own masks with a filter pocket. So I had my mask with my filter pocket. I had my gloves. I had my wipes. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. So I got on the plane. I was in seat 1C. I wiped down everything, including the person next to me. I was wiping everything, passing out wipes. I had a layover in Dallas and got on the next plane, wiped everything down. Dallas was the only place I felt a little less safe.
Really? And that's such a great airport, typically.
Yeah. San Diego was great. I mean, everybody wore their masks. We ate outdoors maybe twice, cooked. There was a gym that I was getting my hair cut in San Diego where they were doing it outside. So you were on the sidewalk in front of the salon, full air blowing. He had on a mask. I felt, this is good. He's not touching me. He's not breathing on me. And while he was cutting my hair, these two muscle gods walked by, and I went, oh, hello. And the guy said he's a trainer. And he said, here's his number. And I texted him, and he said, well, the gym is closed. But if I do a personal training, it's just us in the gym. So I got to work out. I got to work out a couple times with masks. Was he the one you had
sex with?
No. This is somebody I had had sex with before. He was 26 years old. And, as much as I appreciate looking at 26-year-olds, but when I was 18, I liked 35. And now that I'm not 18, I still like 30. Fuck you. Sorry. Am I allowed to say that?
You can.
And now that I'm not, now that I'm approaching another milestone in a few years, I still like 35. I like 40. I like 50. I like well-preserved 60.
Right. I have always said, somebody texted me last night on OkCupid, which I didn't even know I had that app. And he was very handsome, and I had to look at my profile, and the profile said, if I have an age preference, it's within 10 years. Because more than 10 years lower, like I'm too self-conscious, and more than 10 years older, I'm sleeping with Ed Asner.
Again?
And Wolf Blitzer.
Well, oh my God, Wolf blowing his Blitzer. That was just so. As far as younger, I am far from being a daddy. Maybe by age they might consider it.
You look so young. You're not a dad.
I'm going to look even better in May.
Why? What are you doing?
I'm doing the same thing. I'm getting this pulled up.
Oh, okay.
This.
What's just the lower third, just the jawline?
Here, yeah, and my nose deviates badly to the right, so I'm having them.
It does not. I'm looking at it. Oh, maybe a little.
No, and I don't.
You can start doing Barbara.
I don't. Wait. Is this? I gotta look in here. Barbara, share. Barbara, share. So I want that straightened out and put back up to where it was, because as one ages, it does drop down a little bit. That's all I want.
Really, though?
Yeah. What happens is the bone in your skull, you lose bone mass, so the cartilage drops.
So we should all listen to that Sally Field and we'll take the Boniva.
Okay.
I'm just saying. That's why she looks so good. That, and I'm sure some touch-ups.
I think she's probably had injectables, but I don't think she's been pulled because she still has lines.
I have a friend who every time he sees somebody, he's like, well, they've gotten work done. I'm like, I know what good lighting does. Look at me. I could be 35. All right, 45.
You could be 35 something.
Hard years.
Yes.
35.
35, rode hard and put up wet.
Okay, so now I looked at the schedule at La Di Da, and it's like a weird schedule for you because I'm used to you being on a regular schedule.
So
this week you're there Saturday, but
so what we did was
Thursday
for October. Yeah. For October, since we didn't know what was going to happen, I did the first Saturday. The other act did the next Saturday. Then we're adding Thursdays. So Chris is doing this Thursday, and I'm doing this Saturday and the following Thursday, and then he has to do Saturday of Halloween, because the deal was if I have to be the first one out of the gate, he has to deal with the assholes on Halloween.
Yeah, you don't want to be.
And then in November, we're going to Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, but we are not doing the election night because I will be in no mindset. And I don't think that's a place to be on that night.
So is it only one performer per night?
Yes. I mean, it doesn't make sense to do more than that. Do
you do only one show? How many shows do you do?
One.
Well, all right. Well, I don't know.
It's a big sing. It's an hour, 15 minutes.
Okay, can I tell people who don't know, and Randy knows, one of my favorite things is Transformation Center.
Station.
Transformation Station. Excuse me. It's obviously it's not really my favorite thing, but I love it.
Obviously.
And so on Facebook Live, you can watch Randy show up as Randy and become Randy. Yes.
Exactly.
And he sits there and he talks through the process. If there's a mistake, he'll wipe over and start over, or he'll explain what he's doing and he answers questions all at the same time. I can barely do this show by myself. How do you do makeup and read and talk?
I have no idea. I just do it. And actually, there are nights that I don't feel like doing it, and my makeup goes on in 45 minutes. But if I kind of feel like I want a little company, people pop on, and I feel like I'm not sitting there by myself. But if I get tired of people, I can go, all right, folks, I got to go. Something happened. And the something that happened was I got tired of dealing with people. So the last one I did, my stepfather popped on every Saturday since maybe within 3 weeks after lockdown. We've done a family Zoom at 7 p.m.
Oh.
Always showing our hands. And because my mother and stepfather are in Delray Beach. I have a sister in Georgia.
And who just got engaged?
My niece. The middle sister, her daughter, one of her twin daughters.
To a very cute boy.
Yes, Knox. And we're very happy. I'm thrilled for Charlotte. She got her CPA and got engaged within 3 days.
I lost a tooth.
Mazel tov.
Thank you. Continue.
I lost hair. But so we've been doing Zooms. My two sisters, my mother, my stepfather, myself, my two nieces, my other niece and nephew on the West Coast, my sister's best friend from high school, another friend down in New Zealand, and we all pop on. And Zoom changed the rules. You had to either have a passcode or a waiting room. And since I host the Zoom, I couldn't do the waiting room for Saturday because I was going to be doing a show. So the week before, I said, here's the new link. Here's the passcode. You'll need the passcode every week. My stepfather, doctorate in biochemistry, brilliant, genius mind, no common sense whatsoever. 7 o'clock in the middle of my Facebook Live. Rand, I can't get on. It says I need a passcode. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got to go. And I texted, Joe, look at the texts. Read the text that says,
so you're doing both at the same time?
No, I got off the Facebook Live because I needed my phone.
Right.
But so that's so things pop up that mean, all right, I have to stop the Facebook Live. And sometimes, there'll be 100 people watching and then there'll be 3.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And it just goes up.
Very popular. And I know 90% of the people, it's great because you'll have friends of ours. We have our mutual friends that we also chat amongst ourselves. It's lovely.
Richard J. popped on Saturday night and went, you're working live?
Yep. Peter has been on. I mean,
well, Peter's not on Facebook anymore, so he's not on anymore.
He'll be back. Shut up.
I don't know. I think he does Instagram, so that's all right. I do miss him popping on.
Yes, I know.
One night I had, this last time it was Beth Level popped on for a few seconds, but never says hello. She watches a little bit and disappears. Donna McKechnie watches them later.
I like watching them later, too.
Brenda Braxton pops on but never talks.
Really?
And we've never met. We just became Facebook friends because we have a lot of friends in common and we just like things.
All right.
It's fine. Bianca Del Rio pops on and she's actually nice to me.
Right. She has not returned a single email to me.
No?
No, that's why she hasn't been on this show.
It's because you went to spam.
No, I could have. That's possible.
Would you like me to text Roy?
Yeah, I'll email you later. We'll take
all right.
It. But yeah, we're going to have her on with Frank because Frank DeCaro will do another roundtable. So I said, who do I not know?
Well, I'll do one with him. I've got a double 2-page spread in that book.
Yes, no, I wanted to do another one with you. So yes, we will. We'll schedule another one. Oh my God, big news. I hesitate to even mention big news on this show, given the Ed Asner debacle.
I didn't see that. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
Oh,
did he show up?
He showed up, but then he froze. It was not good. You'll scroll back and watch the beginning of this show. I show a clip.
Okay.
Anyway, Thursday, if it all goes as planned. Finally, the reunion of Lainey Kazan and Michelle Lee live on Billy Masters.
Finally, that would be nice.
Finally.
Now,
Yeah.
I will tell you, I saw on Seth Rudetsky's Stars in the House, they had a Knots
The
Landing.
Knots Landing one, yes.
And Michelle was having all kinds of issues with her Wi-Fi. So
She didn't have a problem when she did Billy Masters live.
I saw that.
Yes, I know you did. Because that was one of those shows that I'm like, what's going to happen? But she's a delight.
Oh, I've only met her once, and she was lovely.
Same night I was there that night.
I know. She was lovely.
Yeah.
I guess Charles is doing location shooting now. They're done in the studio.
They're in the city. Yep, I saw that too. We have a lot of friends. See, this is the thing. It's just like us hanging out. So what is it like for you to now be back at work after 7 months and actually perform in front of an audience such as it is?
Well, it was odd not seeing the shape of bodies because, you know where you play with people.
Can you hear them? You can hear
them.
them.
Oh, yeah. The wall is only 8 feet by 6 feet. So it's the bottom is open and the top is open. But it does work because after the opening number, stuff like that there, I look on the center of the screen and there's spit. So Bette Midler walked over to the side of the stage, grabbed the Kleenex and went, always a lady, cleaned off the wall. But it also showed the audience that it did protect anything flying out of my mouth. Right. I did leave the stage. I had one of those face shields. And so I walked down because it's spaced out. And there's one table right at the bottom of the stairs to the stage, which you would think the hostess, after 6-7 years of working there, would put the married couple there for me to pick on so I wouldn't have to leave the stage. But you would be wrong, because instead she put 2 women there and put the married couple 80 feet back. So I had to leave the stage with the shield, not get too close, so I got to interact. And I also discovered that you can't talk like this with the shield. You have to get it under the shield so that the sound goes through.
Oh, really?
And I kept going, it was interesting. But the best part for me was, for those that don't know, I do 3 parts in my show. I do Bette Midler, I do Cher, and I do my own character. And the majority of my own character, I'm down in the audience, interacting with the audience, one-on-one, up close. And with the new world we're in, one should not be that close to somebody else unless everybody's wearing a mask. Right. So I stopped what I was doing I was talking to the audience and I said, you know what? We're in a new world. And thank you for wearing your masks when you came in. Thank you for watching me behind the sneeze guard. And I would like to come out and get to know all of you, but I can't do that. I can wear my face shield, which protects you, but you would have to wear a mask for me to come down. So I tell you what, if you put on your masks, I got that much out, and the entire audience put their masks on.
Wow.
And I got to go down in the audience. I didn't get, a foot away, but I got to get up close enough and let them have it. And that was fun. It was great to perform. I didn't do meet and greet afterwards.
No, you can't.
And I got up the next day, and my feet were killing me, and my back was killing me, and my face was sore, and my voice was shot. I felt like I was 90 years old. I thought, all right, I have got to get my legs back.
Yeah.
My body was like, what are you doing? Oh,
when you do the shows in the house, I assume you're not putting on shoes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, are you putting on shoes?
Because you stand differently.
Stand different, yeah.
I'm not wearing pantyhose. I mean, I have lovely hairy legs down there, but I make sure the dress is long enough to cover it.
Right. Well, they can't see the whole thing, but I guess, and also, even for the character, it comes from the foot.
I even wore pads in the shows in the house because of the way the dresses would lay, and I felt different.
Really?
Yeah. I was tucked, and I wore that undergarments. Oh, speaking of undergarments, I have a nude bathing suit I wear under the first 2 parts of my show, because that way I don't have to worry about changing boobs and other things.
Right.
Get ready to get dressed for Saturday night, my return. No undergarment.
Where was it?
On the sofa in the workroom.
But not with you at the club.
No, it's still on the sofa in the workroom. It'll go back to the club.
There was something that you were looking for at the club, that you were looking for something and said, I think it's in the other bag in the other room. I forget what it was, but you were looking for something.
Oh, yes, it was. It was either powder puffs or...
Yeah, I think it was puffs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's shit all over that place.
Oh, God. How did you get into doing female impersonation? When did you realize I know the voice, but when did you realize you had the bone structure to actually look like these people?
Well, the lookalikes came later. I
Yeah,
did
because you were a singer and you did different voices.
Oh, no. I started out lip syncing.
Oh, did you?
Well, my first appearance in drag was senior year of high school. We went to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I raided the wardrobe department and discovered that don't wear a white bra under a black dance skin, and and big white hair, big blonde hair, which wasn't pretty. And then I got dared to enter a drag pageant in Norfolk, Virginia, and I came from theater. I thought, well, I'll sing a song. And I had the Judy Garland songbook, and I found somebody that could play the piano and had them roll a piano on a stage, which this is the 80s where everybody's lip syncing.
People weren't singing live.
Oh, and they were lip syncing to Kelly Marie. So they had a piano on the stage. I didn't know about drag makeup. I took clown white to cover my beard and cover girl on top of that. So white and pink makes it even pinker, and clown and baby powder. Blue eyeshadow, big lashes, red lips, Maron lip rouge, which is basically clown makeup.
So basically, you were Miss Richfield.
It looked prettier. No, nothing against Russ. Russ has never gone for pretty. Miss Richfield. And then the wig it looked like Rosanna Dana.
Oh, all right. Well, that's a look.
It's not a good one.
Singing Clang, Clang, Clang went the trolley?
No. Singing Stormy Weather.
Of course.
In Judy Garland's key, yet, so I would have to go, don't know why, there's no sun up in the sky, stormy weather. Yes, I didn't win.
But you've made up for it. Where is that winner today?
But I still have people that remember that were there that night.
When did it become good?
What time is it? I'm still working on it. Drag is all I have done since 1985.
Wow, that's great. And it has paid your bills. It has brought you around the world.
Yes, it
has.
has.
And it has really brought you into some of the great concert halls in the country.
Oh, I've had great times. I mean, to do my show at Birdland was such a shock to me.
Oh, I remember.
I you know what? And it's not so much the venue as the people that get to see it. And that, I mean, America's Got Talent and all of those things. I never wanted to just be on Drag Race or in that little. Don't put me in a cookie cutter. You're a drag queen. You only do the drag competition. That's all you can do.
All you can do, right?
I wanted to be an actor that said, "All right, I'm going to do drag, and I'm going to sing, and then I'm going to do Cher, and then I'm going to do. I'm going to get out of drag, and I'm going to sing Phantom of the Opera, and I'm going to act as a boy, and I'm going to act in drag. I wanted to do it all. Drag gave me the gimmick to keep working when I couldn't get a job as a boy. And I have no complaints about that. It's kept me working.
But is there the part of you that still wants to do the roles as a boy?
I wanted to be Jerry Orbach.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I wanted to be Jerry Orbach, but I looked more like Anne Margaret. Or
ironically, he wanted to be Ann Miller.
Well, and he was, I think, a couple of times. Ann Miller. Oh, I just found a video on YouTube of Ann Miller rehearsing for the 100th birthday video of Shaking the Blues Away with Leroy Reams and Don Correa and Greg Burge and Hinton Battle, and her doing full-on tapping at rehearsal. And then laying down the click track. I'll send you the link.
Oh, I know it. Well, it's funny because I had David Pevsner on last week talking about his one-man show. And doing a search, all of a sudden you find a random picture of him and Ann Miller. And I said, can I just ask what this is from? And she had come to see When Pigs Fly in L.A.
I saw him do it in New York.
So, and he said, and I'm not somebody who takes pictures, but I'm like, hold on, Ann Miller is here. So.
Somewhere I have a photo with Ann Miller that was taken at Blockbuster Video in Las Vegas when she and June Allison were there to sign VHS tapes from the MGM musicals.
God love him. See, this is what this show is. From Gloria Allred and Jeffrey Toobin touching himself to good Ann Miller story.
Well, I touched Ann Miller's ankles.
Did you?
Yeah, I said, can I touch your ankles? And they were solid because, she was just... Oh, yeah.
No, she didn't have cankles.
No, she did not. But her one knee went out a little bit from always doing those machine gun taps on one side.
Well,
I've heard
just went straight up.
I've heard great Ann Miller stories. I have so many friends that have worked with her. Friends that worked at the Papermere Playhouse during Follies.
Oh, well, oh God, that video is so fabulous. But anyway, getting back to Randy Roberts.
Yes.
So are you going to be able to do, you're not going to be able to do, obviously, your big show, your big benefit of this year.
It was scheduled to be this year, but instead, if all goes well, I'm going to do a duet show. That's me and one other person that you know.
Oh, do I get a hint? You'll tell me afterwards.
Marilyn.
Oh, our good friend Marilyn May. Well,
She
Marilyn is the only one who's performing.
Oh my! In a tent in Minneapolis.
No, was that the funniest thing?
And evidently, with one-liners, she said that the juggling act couldn't make it, and he was so great because she was in a circus tent.
Well, I went to see her in Provincetown.
I hear she was fabulous.
You were going to come up. We had talked the night before, and yeah, and 92.
Yes.
92 and I'm not through. I have to think. What is the show title? So is she going to come down do a show with you?
February 22nd, if all goes well, with Ted Firth at the piano and Paul Shuchuk on bass and George Mazzeo on drums. I'm bringing them in from Lauderdale. They've played with me a lot and have both played with Marilyn because, she likes good.
She knows.
And she likes good musicians.
And she really likes a good rhythm section. We talked about that at Provincetown, and she said, they asked me to just do it with the piano, and I could, but my jazzy arrangements really need that, and they do.
And if I'm going to do it, I want my trio. I want a combo, but there's not a lot of money coming in, and they're not. We do these in the lobby of the big theater there. They turn it into a glorious cabaret.
What theater is it?
The Tennessee Williams Theater in Key West at the Florida Keys. Is it University now? Whatever it is. But so what they're doing is they're moving it into the 515-seat
and just
theater.
You out.
Pods of 4, spaced out. So it'll be 200 people, and we'll have that whole stage that they can drape to make it look gorgeous.
And look gorgeous. Yeah,
and Marilyn and I can be distanced if we need to be.
Look, I did an interview with her in private.
I saw it.
Marilyn's not going to be distant. I mean, it's like me. We're family. So,
yeah.
As long she just grabbed me and she's like, I said, "Oh, hi." And she's like, "Oh, honey, just come here and give me a hug." I'm like,
yeah.
Oh.
I will be
with all of us.
I will be tested before I see her.
I was as well. And
I feel like I'm
with our Helen.
Oh, yes. I wouldn't. Of course. I love Helen.
Yes.
I love Helen.
So you've got La-Di-Da on a strange schedule so people can check your website.
Well, in November, it gets into a rather regular schedule. There'll be Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Check the schedule there. Check me on Facebook. Check me I have
Randy Roberts Live on YouTube.
Yes, and then on Facebook, it's I think it's Randy Roberts Live on Facebook because I have a personal and a show.
You've got to look. A friend of mine said you got to be consistent. Everything is Billy Masters TV or Billy Masters Live.
Well, I had to have 2 on Facebook because of AGT, and it stuck. So I've got my personal one, which has 5,000 friends.
We're always at our limit.
But my favorite day is those friends is on his birthday. That's when everybody you don't know wishes you happy birthday.
How long does it take you to go through and respond to most of them?
I usually
don't do all of them.
I do every one.
I try to. Do you write to everyone?
Yeah, I just say
I will write or I'll click like.
Yes, there's a lot. I usually do thank you to everyone, and if there's someone close, I might add something to it.
Right. I sit there and there's people I want to write something to.
Yeah.
And people I just want to acknowledge because people are lovely to us. Thank God.
I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. How lucky are we?
No, I mean, I will complain, but it could be so much worse.
I was talking with Chris Peterson today, who is the other act in the room, that we have made it through this so far, this pandemic. I got a PPP through my corporation. I got some unemployment. I had put money away because I thought, I'm finally going to save some money. Well, it's gone now, but knock wood, I have made it through pretty well. I had food on the table. My bills were paid. I didn't have to ask anybody for money.
Right. Yeah.
So I was able to help if I could. And
I haven't helped anybody.
I did.
On this show, that's it.
Well, I gave $5 to Biden. I wanted the I got the shut up. I got the man, will you shut up T-shirt.
Oh, that's a good one. I would
Yeah.
like that. I don't wonder would I ever wear it though.
I've worn it once. I wore it over to somebody's house for dinner.
And then autograph it and auction it off.
I'd rather have him autograph it and auction it off.
Okay, well,
President Biden.
Or maybe Kamala. Or as I
Or
like
both.
more, Camilla.
Come, don't you dare. Kamala.
Oh, you didn't see that clip. Yeah, that was at the beginning of the show. A year ago, before Biden was even declared,
Yes.
I predicted that it would. I'm going to just show the clip one
Okay,
more time. Randy
do it.
didn't see it. This was Sue and I on her old show on New England Cable News.
All right, so who are you picking for the presidential race? You looking at Pete Buttigieg?
Well, first off, we're all talking about Joe Biden. He hasn't even declared yet.
Yeah.
So, but he's still the front runner. And I think that Biden, Camilla, I think that could be a really...
Kamala Harris.
Kamala.
Yeah,
whatever. Potato, potato. I think those two.
Potato.
Patata.
What else would I say?
It's funny. I have some somewhat conservative friends that I'm still friends with. Many I don't because, and it's horrible to lose a friend over politics. But
it's hard at this time.
When they espouse the positive parts that they find in our current president,
Presidente, yes.
I ask. I say, please tell me what they are, and don't give me sound bites. Tell me exactly what he has done.
Right.
And is saying now that make you proud to have him.
Yeah, back up your opinion.
Thank you. So this friend, she said, I'm not a Trump supporter, but I'm conservative. She's Catholic. She says Biden is not a real Catholic because he supports women's rights. And I was like, and we had a long discussion. She still said, but the Democrats want late term abortion. I went, no, they don't. That's just
Nobody
bullshit.
wants a late term abortion.
So, and I said, and nobody wants an abortion. But she said, why didn't they just go with Buttigieg? I would have voted for him.
It's so funny. I said this earlier in the show. When he first came on the scene, I had thought to myself, this is good. It gets him on the national platform because nobody knew who he was.
Right.
But what ended up happening when he left is people came out of the woodwork to me, people who weren't gay and who were somewhat conservative, and said, boy, I really wished he was a little bit more seasoned because I would have voted for him.
Oh, he'll be back.
I was saying to Sue that I think because of his foreign experience and the languages he speaks, I think he'd be really great in state. Might be a little bit too much of I don't think Secretary of State, but
you never know. You never know. Well, let's win.
I know. And actually, we should say, so what is voting like in Key West?
Well, I had requested an absentee ballot because I didn't know where I was going to be.
Yeah.
And I filled it out and I hand delivered it to the supervisor of elections before early voting even started.
Wow.
I tracked it and it showed received and counted.
Okay. So I want to say that a friend of mine in Los Angeles told me he voted. He got the text or email saying your vote has been recorded.
Well, we don't get that here, but you can go to Monroe County Supervisor of Elections or whatever the site is and put in your name and there's some information they ask for and you see the progression of your vote. And yesterday was the first day of early voting here and double the turnout already showed up. And
I say, vote early, vote often.
Stir it up.
I'm
just hoping that people get out and vote. Don't act like Biden has the lead. Act like he's behind, down 10 points.
I will remind you all that Hillary was ahead in double digits in the polling. And what happened? And, it's so funny. I will say that this time 4 years ago, I think it was last week, it was 3 weeks before the election, Pussygate broke. And you thought, oh, well, it's a slam dunk now.
When that didn't do it and when this didn't do it, I thought we are screwed.
But can I just say, I'm sorry, I know that my liberal friends will disagree with this, but I also feel that a country gets the president they deserve. And even if we don't deserve them, I think this country really deserved Trump, and maybe it woke them up.
I think what it did was those that were just sitting back going, Hillary's going to win. I really don't have to work hard for what I stand for, what I believe in. And then Trump ended up winning bigly. by the electoral college, but not popular. So what I'm curious, I mean, my worry is, and I was talking today with my friend, is Trump saying and doing these ridiculous things because somebody high up in government has said, don't worry, you've got this no matter what, because they've got it rigged somehow.
We don't know.
I know, we can't. And if Amy Cider Vinegar, or whatever her name is, gets in, well, they tried to call her AC. They tried to call her ACB, and I just said no. I'm calling her ACV because I get the same feeling when I see her as I do when I take a shot of apple cider vinegar. So she's ACV from this day on. If she, I still have hope that 2 senators will go no.
Well, I brought this up. We didn't really talk about it with Gloria, but there is this thought that because the Republicans are trying to push this confirmation hearing through, that it is working against them.
I heard that. You did say that.
Senatorial level
right.
in the states. So I do wonder if some of those senators in those swing states are going to somehow at the last minute say, we shouldn't be doing this, and I'm voting against it to save their own neck.
And their reasoning can be she didn't show us that she signed these petitions against Roe v. Wade.
Well, and as you texted me privately, she had only been a judge for how many years?
Less than 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
And she's also an originalist.
And bear in mind that if you are an originalist,
then how the hell is she a judge? She's not allowed to vote.
Right, exactly.
She's not allowed to own a goat.
That's true. And I'd be okay with her owning a goat. I defend her right to own a goat and milk that goat.
Yes, as long as she stayed out of the judiciary.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to tell you, I'm so sorry I didn't get to at least chat with Gloria and Sue a little bit, because it would have been a nice.
No, I would have. It's so hard because when you ask Gloria a question, you know that I should just sit back.
Well, I would raise my hand and go, Gloria. Yeah, it was lovely to be there. I think she saw the private chat because it was to everyone.
She did, yeah. And she's so smart. I mean, can I say that? Oh, I don't know. Should I say? Fuck it. I'll say it. She is probably this is show number 49. She's probably the most impressive guest I've had in 49 shows. And one of the lowest rated guests, because nobody is watching Billy Masters
for politics,
commentary. Right. I mean, but I don't care.
Oh my God! Then that means that this one's going to be even lower.
No, I'm hoping I had you on to bring up the curve.
Well, that the only time in my life that I've been brought on to bring up the curve with Gloria Allred.
She's so smart, and the fact that I've told this story before, but I don't think I've ever told to you. We met at some sort of event. We were seated at the same table, and I'm talking to her and telling her stories. And at the end of the night, she went to say goodnight to some people, and she comes over to me and she's like, Billy, you were so much fun and a lovely dinner companion. She hands me her business card and says, hold on to this. Something tells me you'll need it.
That's great.
And I said, that's my kind of woman, that she's just going to put it right out there. Yeah,
someday I think someday and you know what? You never know.
And no, I think it's a very good possibility that I will need to call Gloria Allred someday. And I've got her in my back pocket.
That's good. Don't put it in the front pocket, because when you're playing with yourself, you don't want to touch that card.
No, then it's a Jeffrey Toobin situation.
I know.
But can I tell you, I am so close to orgasm right now talking to you about Gloria Allred. It's a dream come true.
And that's another thing I never thought I'd hear. Billy Masters being close to orgasm discussing Gloria Allred while looking at me. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the real Billy Masters TV.
It is. And as you know, you've spent enough time with me. It goes in the gutter quickly.
Oh, it starts there. It goes below.
We have had so much fun, and I have to say, the best thing about this show is being able to just see my friends and talk to them and just have some normalcy in the day.
I laid down around.
That's why you've done your shows.
I did the live streams for a combination. It was, first of all, if you don't use it, you lose it. I wanted to keep a presence. A social media presence. And
people forget.
So they didn't forget. The first one had a ton of people. The second one had a few less. The third one dropped down. Then they came back up.
Great numbers, though.
I did. I had great later they watched them. So that was great. I'm sorry?
Recidivism.
Okay, sure.
It's like when you go back to prison just for the sex.
Thank you. Gutter. So that's
and you also got a lot of tips.
I did. No, there were no tips. I got a lot of loans.
Well, all right. By the way, I'm not paying anyone back. I
was very surprised, very grateful, very thankful.
And I know, and I hope I'm not saying something out of turn. But you and I talked about it beforehand, and you were really on the fence about even putting up the PayPal and Venmo account.
I don't want to ask for money.
You did right. No, I know, and I never have either. But the big thing that changed it for you was every other show that was like that was doing it, and people were asking you.
Yeah, people asked me, "How do I tip you?" And a part of it, I also thought, okay, they're not paying a cover. That's their cover.
No, that's true.
So that's like Billy Stritch does his thing every Thursday. He does Billy's Place.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't charge for it, but he puts up his Venmo and his PayPal.
Remind me, I got to tell you a story about that when we're off the air.
Okay, and then he's got all that merch.
Oh yeah, well, Billy Stritch is a god. So
yes.
Let me just say to people that you can get gossip on BillyMasters.com. Every week there is a new column. These shows are all archived there. They're also on our YouTube channel. So if you're looking for anything Billy Masters, that's the most I feel like I can do.
They're an OkCupid. They're an OkCupid.
Okay. This guy, I gotta send you this guy's picture.
Please do.
He's so cute. I have to just send it to you. Anyway,
Please
I'm now going to look on OkCupid. I didn't even know I had OkCupid on.
I'm not going on OkCupid.
I'll take a screenshot and said, yeah, you got a small city.
I was going to say, no, thank you. No. Oh, I should keep my hands up. Sorry.
No,
Rebel.
I will say
Rebel.
every once in a while, I will get a text and somebody on one of these apps and will say, "Are you Billy Masters?" And I'm like, who would lie about that?
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, no, I'm a Billy Masters lookalike. There's a big demand for that.
You're impersonating him.
I'm impersonating myself, impersonating someone else.
Okay.
It almost makes you think.
Not really.
All right. Well, I'm going to just remind people where they can see you. So go to randyroberts.net for everything about Randy. On that page, it links to all of his Facebook stuff, his YouTube channel, gives you the schedule of his shows at La Di Da.
Yes.
His touring schedule when touring begins again. I know. You and I, this is the longest we have been in one place, the two of us.
I was supposed to be in so many places this summer.
Weren't you supposed to go to England when this started?
In June, I was supposed to go to. I was going to do the Crazy Cocks, and it's in Soho, and I was
performing. You were going to shows too.
I was going to see some shows, but I was also performing at this posh wedding from some dear friends of mine. I was going to do 15 minutes to share, following Sandra Rodbanovsky, the opera singer. She was doing Over the Rainbow. Then I was coming out and doing something, and Vanessa Redgrave was doing a speech. I was like, how did I get caught in that group?
You haven't lived until you've seen Vanessa Redgrave's Judy Garland. Clang, clang, clang. Just
are you?
She's very versatile. By the way, go back and watch our show. Randy Roberts did an earlier show with Faith Prince, which was so much fun.
I got to call her. I haven't talked to her this week.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, again, one last time, randyroberts.net, not .com. Who is .com?
I have .com as well.
Oh, do you? But
and I also have randyrobertslive.net and randyrobertslive.com, but everything forwards. But everything, some of them, I got them when I was doing the live streams because I thought maybe I'll broadcast it onto that and I'll make them pay, and I want to screw it. And
when you email me, you always email me from the .net.
Well, that's my email address. If you send anything to Randy at randyroberts.com, it goes to some trash somewhere because that's where all the spam went.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
And I always end the show with randyroberts.net. Think of Aquanet, and you'll never forget the flow and the rhyme.
Well, so there you go. So randyroberts.net, and if you don't like it, go to hell. Randy, thank you for being on the show. Don't hang
Thanks
up
for having me, honey.
Connect and we can talk. I will talk to you soon. I hope I get to see you soon.
That would be nice. Where are you now?
I'm in Boston still.
You're still there, okay.
I might have to go down to because I have a place in Fort Lauderdale as Randy.
I know. I was up there this weekend. Picking up a wig.
Well, because they've reopened. Manor is reopened. A lot of things have reopened there.
But it's socially
An
distanced.
alibi. It's socially distanced.
You have to sit down.
For food.
Yeah. So we went, not this time, but in early September or sometime. I met Jeff Varla and DeWitt up there. We went to dinner at the Alibi, and you wear your mask till you sit down. Tables are socially distanced. The waiter came up with a mask on. He didn't have any pants on, but I didn't care. And it was fine. It was strange. It was strange.
It is strange. Anyway, stick around. I'll talk to you in a little while. Thank you, Randy.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. Everyone, thank you for watching Billy Masters Live. Okay, Thursday up, and he just disappeared. Randy, come back. Oh, whatever. As I said, Thursday, we should have Michelle Lee and Lainey Kazan, but I haven't announced it yet because, who knows. Anyway, thank you for watching. I don't know what else. Vote, be counted. And I don't care who you vote for. Just vote. Do your civic duty. Do some duty. All right. I'll talk to you later. Thanks, guys. I have been Billy Masters. And just remember, if we're here, we're live. Bye, guys.